You are listening to Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. Let's jump first, as we always do, into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is down right now. This is a 24-hour day Bitcoin, down right at 2%. And of course, as we look at what Bitcoin has been doing over the two prior weeks, particularly last week, big down week. This week is a down week, but not as down as last week. As we look at the two-day chart, you can see where things had really started hammering down. It started back on the 9th of June and then just continued to trundle down. The big down day on the 24-hour-a-day chart was Sunday, Monday. And then, of course, we saw things on Saturday sort of stalemate come to a stop slowly, and then this latest two-day candle is a green up candle, although as we look at what's been happening over the course of the 24-hour-a-day chart today on the 195-minute, you can see where things have been moving down again. So again, a lot of weight pushing Bitcoin down. We'll continue to monitor. It's always good once a week to look at that big chart, particularly the 24-hour-a-day chart, to get a feel for the volume. Of course, comparing volume here on all three of the time frames and the trend. Now let's move on to Ethereum. What is going on with Ethereum on the 24-hour-a-day chart? Again, it topped and started moving over just like Bitcoin, two big down weeks this week, not as much. We've got a doji right there right now. You can see where there's been a sideways slide on the three latest two-day candles, two dojis, the last two. The current candle is just a flat green with a wick on top, but everything is remaining below that weekly trend line. You can see on the 195-minute chart how things were pitching over during the course of the day. Now, we'll take a look at the Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund. What is that? That is top 10 cryptocurrencies weighted as per market share. Of course, the big one is Bitcoin, followed by Ethereum and the others. And as we look, again, no surprise, those prior 2 weeks, particularly last week, big down week. This week, we've got a doji. We'll see how the week continues to shape up. For right now, it's up 0.33%. And again, chart looks very similar to the Ethereum chart, trying to push through on the 195-minute. We'll see if it actually gets through yet. But again, on the cryptocurrencies, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or the top 10 cryptos, there's still that pushing down weight from those prior 2 weeks. Not expecting some huge turnaround, but again, with cryptocurrencies, nothing is off the table. Let's take a look now at commodities. We've got a list for you, several. Look at corn just dumping off these last 2 weeks, down again today. And again, remember, corn used in so much in ethanol production. It's mandatory in the U.S. that, gasoline in so many states, and there's ethanols used in blends. And again, a lot of corn there, a lot of corn in feedstock. And of course, people eat a lot of corn in the guise of corn syrup in the States. Not good for you. We look at what's up with copper. Copper going down for the last 4 weeks pretty decently. This week, slowing down, just flat for the day. Now, silver is interesting. Silver peaked, and then we had, this was again, not quite the classic turnaround, but one that we buy into. We had silver peak with above average volume. Then we had one of those sort of dead weeks, didn't get as high, didn't have as much volume, but then we had the red spinning top. Silver going down that next week, the 10th of June, just sort of sliding sideways, a doji that following week, the 17th. And then last week, starting the 24th, again, a down week. This week, it's above what trend line we sort of have, not much of one. I guess now if we connected last week's candle, I don't like monkeying around with these things to get things to work. but we're right there on it. So we'll continue to watch. Silver down just a fraction, 0.04% for the day. But again, looks like silver, particularly with the way things turned around here and the volume and the peak and then the rollover, leads me to believe it'll continue to move down. What about UGA, this United States Gasoline Fund? I mean, again, moving up. We saw where it hit that low. We didn't have any volume to help us with the turnover there, but these last 3 weeks it has been pitching up. And of course, natural gas, the opposite. Nat gas down third week running, down strongly for the day, 2.35%. And again, didn't have anything to help us volume-wise in the turnover there. The candles showed it, but again, I don't trust just candles. I want to have volume confirm what I'm seeing on the candles. We look at USO, that's the United States Oil Fund. Of course, we saw that interim low, green spinning top turning over, and it has been moving up strongly these last 3 weeks. Let's look at wheat, another one of those feed stocks, feed commodity. Well, it's used in everything, bread, I mean, you name it. But we see where wheat, again, had a high, didn't have the volume there. Let's check that prior week. What was the high? That was the week beginning the 20th of May. That was 647. That next week, 648. And then, of course, average volume with that red spinning top. I don't like all that movement up and down. I like a red spinning top, but not some giant down candle. And then rolled over, not down as much this week as it was last week, but for the day down 1.20%. Now, let's move on to currencies. Out of commodities, what do we see with the British pound? Well, it had moved up for many weeks and then topped back in June, on June the 10th, the week beginning then, and then down for 2 weeks. And this week, just sort of, for the day, it's up 0.21%. It's hard to tell anything, but it did break that upward trend. And the euro, 3 down weeks this week, trying to move up, broken through the weekly trend line. We have, two-day candles trying to move up. But again, no volume backing that up as far as the turnaround goes. We look at the Swiss franc. It had 3 weeks of decent, strong up movement and then fell over with a spinning top, almost a doji last week, and down this week. Lastly, oh man, the yen, it just keeps hammering down again today, down this week. The yen just keeps sinking. It'll slide sideways, sink some more, slide sideways, and sink some more. So that is where we are on our charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies. As we say every week, it's fun to sort of step out and give a look at the 24-hour-a-day charts when it comes to our top 2 cryptocurrencies that we chart, and then, of course, the top 10 cryptocurrency ETF. Then look at some commodities across the board. I've been paying close attention, as you guys know, lately to silver. And of course, we see some of those feed stocks, feed ETFs, wheat and corn moving down. And again, and then looking at world currencies. It's just always fascinating to see and then apply what we see there. Because, copper is used in industrial processes. When it's booming, when it's falling, it can help you understand across the board when you look at commodities, when you look at oil, when you look at things across the board, national currencies and all. It can help you understand perhaps better sort of what's going on around the world. We always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. Thanks so much.